Welcome back. As a part of this lecture, we'll try to understand how do we work with Booleans. Before we really start knowing how do we work with Booleans, what exactly is a Boolean? Any idea? Boolean is nothing but a logic which is derived from algebra. If somebody is really good in algebra, they would know Boolean is derived from algebra. In algebra also, we'll tend to create true or false statement. Booleans are developed by English mathematician and who turned a computer pioneer named George Boolean. As I have already told you multiple times, in the earlier days, many mathematicians contributed to the advancement of the computers. So, the George Boolean contributed Booleans to computer science. Boolean, which is also called as a Boolean, bool and Boolean expression, is a value that is either true or false. Having seen this, is the Boolean different in Spark or same? They are same. Here, if you really look at the Booleans, right, in any of the data analysis, let us say you have almost some 1000 rows. If you want to filter them, you need to use Boolean. That is the reason the Booleans are foundation for all filtering problems. And if you want to filter the data, you need to use Booleans there. In Spark, we would have 4 Boolean statements. One is AND, the second one is OR, third one is true, fourth one is false. You may be wondering why AND and OR came into picture. We'll see that in a bit. AND and OR will also help in filtering. That is the reason they are also included as a part of the Boolean statements. At a high level, we understood the Boolean statements would evaluate to either true or false. What we do is, by using the Booleans, we build a logical statements. Those logical statements would evaluate to true or false. These statements are often used as a conditional requirements for whenever a row of data must either pass the test, or if it is not passing the test, it will be filtered out. For example, let us take a very simple example here. Assuming that we have 3 rows. The first row has 5, 6 and 4. Assuming that we will build a logical statement saying that give me all the values more than 5. Then what happens, this is a logical statement. We are filtering out 5 and 4 here. Only 6 would be remaining. That is how we are building a logical statement. Whichever is evaluating to true, that will be retained. Whichever is evaluating to false, that will be filtered out. Let us take an example here. If you see, this is how we use a Boolean in Spark. The data set what we are using here is of a retail data set, which will have around 8 columns. As a part of the 8 columns, we have couple of columns like invoice number, description, like that. The way we are using the Boolean here is, obviously for all the things we are using a data frame name, and see here we are using a filtering. So what are we trying to filter? Wherever the column invoice number is not equal to 536365. This is the Boolean, either it is evaluating to true or false. And here, as you know, we are just trying to select couple of columns. This is the statement we should be really worried about. So this is a statement which is either evaluating to true or false. Here we are trying to see which is the invoice number, which is the record of this data frame, which is not equivalent to 536365. In the resulting set, we will get only the values which are not equivalent to this. One more way of representing the same thing is this. What we are trying to do here is, we are trying to provide this condition as a part of the string expression. This is a string expression. And also, if you see, this is one more way of saying not equal to. Both of them are same. This is how you are trying to use the Boolean as a part of Spark to filter out some of the rows based on a conditions. One more important thing is we understood how do we specify the a statement whether it is evaluating to true or false. Remember, I also said and or also can be a part of the Boolean statements. Whenever you want to build multiple expressions, whenever you want to string together multiple expressions, that is where and or will come into picture. Whenever you are trying to add multiple conditions, whether that should evaluate to true or false, you need to mention them as a sequential filters in case of Spark. It doesn't matter. What Spark does is, whenever you are trying to mention the multiple filter conditions together, you are stringing them together, Spark takes care of that optimization by flattening all those filters into one statement and perform the filter at the same time. That is what Spark is doing. Spark has that intelligence. We need not worry about that. We'll see that as an example. If you see here, what we are trying to do here is, we are trying to assign a condition to a variable. Price filter is one variable. And another condition like a description filter to one more variable. We are trying to use these two variables as a part of our Boolean expression. For example, now this is the data frame name and we are using a filter. We are using two conditions here. One is data frame, stock code is one more, this is a column name. We are trying to see whether the column name stock code has a string dot or not. Along with that, it is in a way you can say it is and. We are trying to see where we are trying to use this price filter here and also description filter here. This is a or condition here. Whichever record which satisfy this and also this would be included as a part of the results. As a part of our conceptual lecture, we have understood what are Booleans and how do they work and why do we use them. Now that we have understood how do they work conceptually, let us try to take a couple of examples and understand them better. What we'll do is we'll try to build one more data frame with a retail data set. Well, let me start doing that. So I'll do retail as usual. I will just say spark dot read dot format, and the format I will be using a CSV format here, and a bit of a change here, and we'll be explaining this all these things in a detailed manner. For now, just say option and we'll say header is true, infer schema, that is also true. We need to provide that in the quotes. Then we'll load the data. Load, we need to provide the path. We copy this path and that should be given in a single quote. But as I always say, do not forget to copy the file name. Okay, so we'll try to use the first file here. Let us go ahead and execute this. I'm in a PySpark terminal. I'm going to execute this. There you go. We have a data frame. So this is the data frame. Let's try to print the schema and try to understand how does the schema look like and also how many columns are there. If you see here, there are around 8 columns: invoice number, stock code, description, quantity, invoice date, unit price, customer ID, and country. We'll try to meddle with this particular data frame throughout this section. These are the 8 columns what we have. To understand Booleans, we need to build an expression. Let us go ahead and build an expression. What we'll do is we'll get the column. Which column? The invoice number. This is the invoice number, right? So it is better to copy the column here so that you don't do any mistake. I will provide the column in the quotes and then I will try to give the expression. So here I'm saying invoice number is not equal to 535. Yes, there it comes. Okay, and then I'll select couple of columns from there, and the column should be invoice number only, invoice number, and then any other column whichever you like. So let us try to understand description here, so that okay, that's all, and we'll show this how it works. Okay, let us have only some 10 values. The result what we should get is whatever the records which we get should not have this particular invoice number. That is what we should get. Let's go and see this. There you go. So all these invoice number, if you see, they are not 536 365. That means whichever the ones which are evaluating to true are here, whichever the one which are evaluating to false are taken out. One more way, as we already have seen, very simple way within the string. All we have to do is df retail, then simple where, and then we are talking about the invoice number 536. This is the one, and let us go ahead and see this. Show, right? So there you go. By default, it is showing this one. So what we'll do is we'll say 5 false. Okay, this is what we are getting. You can see all of them do not have a invoice number as 536365, isn't it? This is how expressions which will evaluate it true or false. What we'll do is, if you remember, we have seen that and are also can be used as a part of the Boolean expressions. Let us see that now. What we will do is we'll try to build a bit complex expression. I will try to assign particular variable price filter is equal to column. Remember, if you are not imported, if you are just open the terminal just now, you have to import all this call function, expression function, and all those things. So I'll just say unit price is greater than 600. And let me assign one more filter, description filter. Here what I will do is I will just try to use a ANSTR. As I said, if you are not imported this, you have to import this. So here I'll say df retail dot description. Within that, do we have string called postage or not? So this is what we are trying to see, and it should be more than or equal to 1. This is one more thing. Then what I will do is I will use both of these variables, and along with that I will build one more expression. Isn't it great? So let me go and say df retail dot stock code. So there is a column called stock code. Within that we are just trying to check, do we have a string called dot. See, there are different ways of doing the same thing. Here if you see the stock code, within the stock code column, do we have a string called dot or not? And here there is one more way of doing it, using an instruction and assigning that to the one more variable. Now along with this, we'll go ahead and give a condition where we can string together the different expressions to whether they will evaluate to true or false. Here you can see we are combining two conditions, where and where. This becomes and here. Within the condition we are using a or as well. So either one of them, if it is true, that should be okay. Let me go ahead and execute all of them. Okay, so first let us execute this, assign the things for variables. There is a problem with the indentation, we have to fix that. Okay, it worked now. Now let me go ahead. There you go. Whatever the records which are satisfying these two conditions would be displayed here. They'll be passing through. the whole condition. They are evaluating to true and both of them are here. So some people ask me a question, oh, why do we have a 569.77 even though one of our conditions says more than 600? That is because we are saying R here. If you try to have this particular expression as a AND, only this will get displayed. Let us try to explore that. All I will do is paste it here again, and I'll make this AND. You can see the difference here. You can see the difference. This is how you can go on exploring different things, so that while learning, if you explore, it will be easy for you. There you go. Because we used an AND condition here, a record which is having a unit price of 607 satisfied that evaluated to true, and that is being displayed here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do practice without fail. Thank you.